Welcome to the podcast. 98, I believe, counting down to 100. So this week, we're going to be diving into kind of where we're segueing after the open. So as we're speaking right now, the open workout just dropped. We'll all be hitting it as a crew tomorrow. Party is also tomorrow, Saturday. When this podcast gets released, that'll all have happened. And then we'll be kind of pivoting and then moving on to some different things. And then just for those of you who, dove into the open and participated. I'm going to kind of talk about where to go from here, because there's a little lull before like the summer and swimsuit season. It's kind of like this little time where, if you've been doing CrossFit and you're fit and in shape, it's not like, we got to just hit it super hard until June. If you've been hitting it hard, getting ready for the open. So what we're doing in class is we're doing a 6-week, we call it a reload. We've done it the last couple years in some various ways. This year, we're going back to a conjugate style strength cycle. It's going to be a 3-day a week cycle. And typically we'll alter it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. This one, we're going to go ahead and just lock this in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, have those be strength bias days, and then have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday be Metcons or a little more conditioning focused days. And then, if you're getting kind of cooked from the open as well, just from all the intensity, a great way, especially if you kind of train for it and build up, a great way to pivot. If the open is where you're ending your game season, is, shifting over to power hour and really starting to build some serious strength, which, that's a 4-day a week program that has some rest days between things. And that's a way, like, I think that is the best or most linear way you're going to build strength in here. And that's something I've done a lot in the past, is like coming off something like really hard conditioning where I'm just like getting cooked on diving into the ground and doing burpees, slowing things down, and then tackling power hour for a focused period of time. So not doing like a ton of both, like CrossFit and power hour, but really focusing in on just that one thing. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Kate?
I think you should do both, like T-Log, and don't eat carbs until noon. Really don't eat. It's the only way to win summer shred.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the one thing I think, kind of joking about that, but coming off that is a lot of us will have conflicting goals, and that really CrossFit scratches the itch of that for a lot of people, where, you want to be strong, you want to be fit, you want to like look good and kind of have it all. And CrossFit does a really good job of, in an hour of training in a class, if you're hitting your nutrition, you're working hard in that class, you're healthy, you're sleeping well, you can check most of those boxes. That being said, checking all of those boxes 365 days a year, even kind of extrapolating that out 4 or 5 years,
15 years.
Yeah. Well, what's going to have to happen at some point is be a little more focused on maybe one aspect. So, I think for a lot of us, strength can be that aspect to focus in on, really dialing in the strength. And what ends up happening is it can be counterintuitive, but when you get really strong and then you condition after that, it's going to kind of unravel like a lot of muscles, and you're going to pop a lot more if you're hitting that strength, rather than you come out of something like this and you're like, okay, now I'm just going to run a ton or condition a ton. It's kind of like letting the air out of a balloon. You're not going to have, your muscles aren't going to be popping as much. You're not going to show that. So I really think, from a physique standpoint, coming out of something like the open, hitting 6 weeks of pretty dedicated strength, and then in May, where we're going to start doing things like Murph prep, running sprints and running more to kind of prep everyone. Yeah. So to get everyone prepped for that, that's a good time to kind of pivot into the conditioning, and it gets people really ready for summer. So summer shred, we're going to go ahead and we're going to release all the info for that next week and have signups. And that the first summer shred day is going to be April 20th. Where are we going to be running the first day at?
I think that Antrim Park
Same
works
place.
really well. Yeah, with 5K there.
Yep.
Then we usually do Hoover next.
Yeah, it always switches a little bit here, but yeah.
I do know that I'm going to be out of town May 4th, and I want to skip the track workout. So that's the track workout.
We're doing a track workout May 4th. Okay.
I hate track
I'll be
work.
running that.
I need to do that.
I still
I hate track work. It gives me anxiety.
I do. I know, like I haven't officially run track since 8th grade, but I've just done so much conditioning on track for other sports that like
Same
just
as
stepping
8th
on a
grade,
track, like I get nervous.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like all the past experiences of just like dry heaving or
It was always like crappy weather. I ran in my my sophomore and junior year too, but
Well, especially if you have goals and times to hit, and you're pushing those.
It's a great place to test things if you're running. Yep. I don't like to go for long runs on the track, but if you got a mile and under, even a 5K, like it's an undisturbed area that's flat in a circle. If you really want to time trial, like retest things, it's a very good place to do it. As opposed to just going.
I'm just so bad at sprinting. I do like what did we do last year? It was like the 50s, the 100s. Oh God, it's so hard. But every time I try to run fast now, pop a hamstring every single time.
Getting old.
I know.
A good warm up is good for that. And just watching the volume and doing things where it's like, at our age, we really need to do 40s and 50s and even hundreds. I think like, if you run 200s or 400s, you're still reaching like maybe 90% of your max speed, but you're kind of ramping up to that as opposed to just like out of the blocks real hot. And I think that's where you'll get some of that. Like,
no, this was with shuttle runs. I just can't run that fast, but I try to keep up with him and some other guy in class.
Yeah.
It was a bad move.
You got to ease into, that's the one thing I've noticed with everything, whether it be strength or speed, conditioning, or jumping, or things like that, like really explosive top end stuff. As you age, particularly past about 35, it's not that you can't get there, but rather than, even if you're really fit, like when you're under 30, if you're really fit and just jump into like a hard sprint workout or even just jumping, like say you're doing a max height box jump, like you're probably going to be okay. But if you're 40 and you do that, it's best to like, I'm going to do this 4 times and purposefully go about 80%, 85%, 90% before I really try it hard. Same with sprinting. Like, you can do some hundreds, but you're not cutting them loose.
Yeah, and it's really about quality over quantity, like in plyometric or speed work or agility stuff. It's like max efforts, a lot of rest, and just keep the volume pretty low.
Yeah.
It's kind of like too much of that, especially as you get older. It just gets harder on the joints, but it's like hard to recover, or you'll find that like your hamstrings start really kind of like talking to you a little bit on some of those sprints. All right, let's back it off a little bit. So I've definitely been in that position before.
Yeah. Yeah, just easing into that stuff. So summer shred is a good way to like, we do come out and test a 5K, but honestly, for a lot of people, like, if you haven't ran all winter, it's a good time to just like check the box. Like you're trying to survive it. Try not to walk.
It's not too much volume. I mean, everything's we try to make it like 30 minutes and under.
Yeah.
It's not like crazy, like 45-minute Hoover Dam workouts and stuff, but.
Summer shred, I love. It's the time of year I always do feel like by the end of it, I get into some of my best shape of the entire year. And it's only one workout a week, but when you're outside running with a nice big group of like 20 plus people every week, and you're just pushing a run and like hanging out, it's something about that once a week, if you do it every week, you feel fantastic at the end. Like it really like kind of like you're getting outside more often than you had. Like it really wakes you up to spring. It leads right into Murph. So I think our last workout is, the weekend before we hit Murph on Monday.
So a rest day, Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad. I mean, you're just doing a mile.
You're doing a mile at a time.
I think we did the same thing last year.
Yeah. So you are running twice, but again, you build into that over 6 weeks. So like you can handle 2 runs in 3 days. And the Murph run is broken up. It's not even a continuous run. So
it's just shuffle. The second run's a shuffle.
Yeah, it's not that fast. So it should be good. And I love this time of year. So it's really great to get back outside. Getting back into that reload cycle. What we're kind of looking at is we're going to do strength workouts on those 3 days. We'll be doing, again, like a combination of dynamic work, max effort work, which is, again, it's max effort or a heavy for that day. So we're working up to anywhere from 1 to 5 reps, at a heavy for that day. Not necessarily like you're always setting a new PR on like a straight bar back squat. We actually typically try to vary the lifts a little bit. So you might be doing like a sumo deadlift from a rack pull or something that's a novel lift. So it is kind of a PR because it might be the first time you're ever doing it, but you're hitting a heavy-ish one for that day. And what it gets you to do is over time, you're always like, you're working up to like this heavy effort, but it's not the same motion. It's not like you're burying a heavy back squat every week. And since you're doing all these different ranges of motion, your body just gets used to adapting to this like heavy lift. And then the other days you're working things for speed. By the end of that 6 weeks, we should feel, whether or not we're PRing everything, we should feel like our strength is back. And then we're going to be focusing a little bit more on strict strength in the workouts. So you'll see WODs and Metcons with strict pull-ups a little more often than kipping. We'll do some rope climbing, actually doing some like strict press in Metcons. So things like that where you'll just see a little more focus on strict strength, doing some carry workouts, with the farmer's carries, sled drags, things like that, things that really support building that strength. And then if you're a Metcon junkie, like don't stress out. We'll get that in. And again, 4 days a week are focused on conditioning. So that'll still be there, but it will be a focus on building our bodies back up a little bit from max intensity, and then a lot of conditioning based around it for the last 3 weeks, just because we don't want to have a lot of like workouts that have contradictions with what we're doing. Like I didn't want to like hit heavy deadlifts and then we'd have that 20 minutes of rowing and deadlifts, and you would be in trouble for that workout. So I try and kind of program around that. So just kind of look forward to that, coming up. After summer shred, we'll have our summer training cycle. That's where we really get outside. And I love that cycle because, just so you guys understand where we're going with it, that training cycle, we open everything up. Like I would say we do some strength. We do some, it's not just like we do a ton of conditioning. I try to really fully express, that's the time of year I try and fully express our fitness. So we're doing outside stuff, we're doing strength. It's the closest to what I would say like .com looks like of our kind of training season. So we're kind of doing a little bit of everything. And then that's also the time of year, if any of you guys are looking to eventually get into like competitive CrossFit, we do level 2 testing inside of the classes. Once or twice a week, we'll just have something where you can check off that sheet. So if that's something you're ever looking to get into, that'll be coming up in June. And then we'll have kind of train for a pool party as well, type of thing. Are we going to do it, you think, at the same place? We have a date in mind, but we haven't quite.
It's still a water fixture. but they might allow us to put our feet in.
Did they say it's not a pool yet?
Yeah, it's not a pool yet. There's another one that we're looking
It's a
into,
water,
but I'm
feature.
really worried it's the same sort of situation. Like I have to talk to Hoof Hearted and another, like is not the same location as where we used to go, but it's the same situation, the same people to deal with, and it just doesn't sound good.
I need to talk to Jimmy Woodland about putting in a big pool out there at Woodland's backyard.
Just
near
for
the, volleyball. Well, I'm telling you, there's nowhere. I think, where was it? Flanagan's out in Dublin, I think at one point had a pool and they filled it in maybe for volleyball courts, because I did hit them
There's
up.
got to be some reason for this, like drinking pools. I don't know. A lot of, probably even the insurance you have to carry.
All the lifestyle community goats have pools, and those are extremely popular.
They do not like you to go there unless.
But we can't have pool parties there.
Yep.
If you had a bar that had a pool and you allowed people to like host parties, but also just had like, I think the problem is the juice and the squeeze, like in Ohio, since our pool season is so short. I think we only have about 12 real.
They're going to invest like $50,000 in this.
It's more than $50,000. Yeah, I mean, you've got 12
Just get
weekends a year
above the
really
pool,
do it.
above the ground pool, like my parents.
Yeah,
My parents have one.
yeah. Just do a. You could do that.
We're a hotel with an indoor pool around here we could use.
Like, when you go out to like Arizona or Vegas or like those kind of, and they all those bars have like pools, and now they have 9 months out of the year they can use it.
Just rent out Zoom Easy Bay for the day.
Yeah,
We've looked into that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's real expensive.
No, you're not renting it out. You're just trying to
But
get a
even
pass.
per person, it's pretty crazy.
They give you like a $5 discount.
So then you spend all your money on that, and so like we would still cover like food and alcohol, and then it's going to be the Christmas party cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all we could do is basically get you your pass, and then everyone would have to pay for their food and alcohol, because
I really like the
pass.
venue. Maybe if we can just put our feet in, it'd be cool. I like that terrace bar. It's nice.
yeah,
It's
that
really
that
nice.
that worked out. That worked out great.
So that's probably where we'll do it. Probably.
Yeah.
I was looking at like gunning for like that last Saturday in June, just because I think the 6th of July, a lot of people will be busy. Because it's kind of July 4th weekend. So.
Okay. So in July, and it's, guys, all of this, I'm going to send this back out just if you guys are listening to this. So I just talked to a few people. I'm like, hey, remember when I sent out the our 2024 guide, and it has our entire year mapped out. And I've probably asked 3 or 4 people this past week about it, and they're like, huh? So I'll end up sending that back out if you're listening to this, and I'll repost it on our Facebook page just so it's handy. It may even be something that I post a link to in like Instagram. I just want everyone to have it and to refer back to it.
Be good to even post on the website so people could click on it and kind of see the events that we do, especially if you're joining, like to just even know about that. That's
so it has like all our Team Tuesdays, and if you're listening, Team Tuesday will be this coming Tuesday. So when this comes out, it'll be tomorrow. All our Team Tuesdays are listed there. All the events, including our holiday party, our fall social, everything that we're doing, even hot for the holidays, our whole year is mapped out for the most part. Our training cycles and dates are all mapped out. So basically our whole year is going to be right there. So, make sure that you're referring back to that, especially if you like to go to these things, attend these things. We're ahead of the game this year. So this has been probably our best year of planning everything. So we're not kind of waiting until like 3 weeks before to try and get a menu and things like that. Kate's helped me lock all that stuff down. So she's kind of the brains behind all the social events and getting that stuff together way ahead of time and just planning in general. But if you're looking for, kind of digressed, if we're looking for a pivot, coming off the open, again, Power Hour, just our general strength training cycle are going to lead and segue right into the summer shred really well. I think they'll have a little like a week overlap. But again, getting your hips and legs and back and your shoulders and arms stronger, it's going to help your running too. And then again, that's going to segue into our Murph prep, which is just going to be one workout a week, and that'll have some overlap with summer shred. But what that will end up being is it'll just give you like 2 real definitive running days every week. So we're not going to like overload people with volume. People say, when it gets warm out here, they're like, man, we're running all the time. Watch the workouts. I plan 2 running workouts every
They
week.
don't like running.
Yeah. But it's
People
only
say
2.
the same thing about burpees.
But it's only 2 a week. So just know, like, I don't overrun us more than 2 days a week in the workout. So 2 days a week we'll run, and then where you might see that is like warm-ups. So you might do like a 400 or something, to get going another day or 2 a week. We won't run too much more than that. But yeah, that's about all I got.
I like running.
Yeah. You guys have anything to kind of add to this? Little short one. We're going to be loading up some guests here in the next few weeks. We've got a couple pretty cool ones, I think, if we can get them here, some members and people that I think will be really fun. And then we'll end up, after quarterfinals a little later, we'll end up having Drake and some of those guys on to kind of like wrap the whole game season. And if they're moving on to semis, kind of talk about what they're doing to get into that. As of right now, as we're speaking, we don't know right now. We're inside the cutoff line, and it's pretty challenging, actually. It's a lot harder for teams to get into quarterfinals than individuals this year. And both of our teams are in it, which is a pretty big deal. I think it's, top 80 out of, I don't know, a lot of gyms in the Northeast to get in. And both our teams are pretty close. Like one is like 45th and one's 53rd. So we've got 2 teams inside that bubble. It's looking pretty dang good. Got a lot of quarterfinalists.
And the next step for them is that's the like online.
Yeah. So the
workouts.
teams will do a quarterfinal first, which is different than the last 3 years, and then the individuals will do one in about a month in April. And one thing I did want to announce. We'll end up putting something out for this. So everyone who makes quarterfinals, we're actually going to have it so you guys can do it in class, which is great. So all the level 2 classes, it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of that week, because they'll release them early. So all the level 2 classes, you'll be able to do the quarterfinal workouts. And again, it'll bleed over. You might have 90 minutes to knock out 1 or 2 of them on those days. And then Saturday and Sunday, 11 and noon, we'll announce it for everyone who's not doing quarterfinals too, just so you squeeze into the first 3 or 4 classes we have in the day. 11 and noon will also be running the quarterfinals, similar to how we have the open, but it gives you guys class times to do that in. So especially now that they opened it up to like 70 for the top 25%, we'll have more people getting in. So we really want to like dedicate time. So it's not people all over the gym, like pulling ropes down and grabbing clocks. And we'll have lots of dedicated times for you guys to come in, knock that workout out officially, set up cameras. We'll have everything like ready for you guys. So we're going to really take care of all the guys who are doing that and make sure it's special. And it feels like an event too. For the vast majority of us, that's where that game season will end.
And if they progress on it after that.
That would be a live semifinal. And I believe it's in Orlando, maybe again. I don't know. I haven't.
Do you know what the dates are for that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That would be in late May, I believe. Okay. Yeah. Late May, early June this year. So that's.
And the games will be in August, right? And
yeah, like at the very beginning of August or late July. And that's going to be in Texas this year. So they switch venues. So yeah, if we keep going, that's the trajectory. But yeah, so the quarterfinals, I believe, is right around when like summer, that week, I think of like summer shred maybe starting right around. So, yep. We'll keep you guys posted. I'll be sending emails out, posts, all of that coming up. We'll catch you next week.